And we are live. Moose, what is up, good sir?
My man.
Yes. The claps. Yes.
Yes. I always
Hey,
love doing an intro. Like I wish that we could do like a podcast with like some money behind it, right? So that we could put like its own recording. It's like, you know, uh the SMT podcast brought to you by, you know,
hey,
and then
Moose.
it's like
The real ones know what it is, bro.
God.
They know what it is.
Dude, it's too funny, man. It's too funny. So, anyways, how you doing, Sneed, man? What's going on?
Hey, Moose. Life is good, man. January 31st. We are here, the last day of January. February is upon us.
Yep. We are
And
now 1/3 of the way done with Q1.
it's just crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We got earnings from T-Mobile still to come.
Yep.
We know what's going on with AT&T. When we know what's going on with Verizon. So that'll kind of wrap up earnings season for Q4.
Yep.
And then what do we got? We got C Band stuff going on. Apparently, we got inoculations going on. People
Jesus.
getting fired. I don't know, man. We'll we'll look at the facts of the story. We'll look at the industry. I think it's important to talk about Moose. You know
Oh,
we
yeah.
got to look at the industry. What is Verizon doing? What is AT&T doing? And then T-Mobile kind of in all this.
Yep.
And then I think that we'll probably tap some loose ends. There's probably a couple other things we'll sneak in
Right.
here. But it's 8:20 in the PM Eastern time,
Mhm.
live recording. So for those of you watching this on replay, hashtag 2LiveCrew, or excuse me, watching this in the live, hashtag 2LiveCrew, and those watching it on DVR, listening to it on DVR, hashtag replay crew. And we do have the ravioli gang for eating dinner or snacking while you're watching and listening. So what do you want to start first?
I think
Moose, what you got?
the biggest thing that the folks have been wanting, Sneed, is the T-Mobile situation. I think that's big. It's
The
big.
only thing I want to mention, because I don't have disclosures on this, the requirement for vaccination
Mhm.
appears to be across the entire company. People within the company are telling me it's impacting all employees,
Right.
and it's not just office workers. So
Wow.
that's a little bit different than, say, for example, I think some of the other carriers, which I think it's the office-based jobs. So like if you're
Mm.
working within the office space, they want to have people with inoculations up to date and all of that. Let me tell you something, Moose.
Mhm.
This is a hard sell, right? And here's what I mean by this. I said this a long time ago when this first flared up from the AT&T announcement and Verizon when they first started kind of flirting with this, mandating inoculations. And the first thing I thought to myself was there are going to be people that work for the company that are very skilled and very talented, right?
Mhm.
And if they aren't on board with this and don't want it, they may leave. And then what they take with them, they go to a rival competitor. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not leaving on good terms. So
Mhm.
what's to say that they don't go to a rival carrier competitor and kind of treat it like an expose, you know? And like I said, skilled, talented people with great ideas, hard work ethic, and they know a lot. And they're going to take that sensitive information
Mhm.
to another competitor. So I've
Right.
always looked at that angle like, do you really want that type of scenario? And then that's something that could definitely happen.
One of the things, Sneed, that comes to mind whenever we talk about, forced situations like this, there's very little wiggle room. Um, there's not even religious exemptions or any type of
Some
exemption.
are reporting
You
it
know?
that it's there, but I couldn't get any hard confirmation on that.
Right. So it's like, to me, this is a little bit extreme. A little bit extreme. We talked about it, right? It's up to you what you put in, your situation, right?
Yeah.
I can't force employees to do it. I mean, they have options, right?
Moose, do you
You're,
think the amount of people
Mhm.
that would leave the company over this is going to be substantial?
It could be the case, man. Honestly, there's some people, at least a good, I would say 25%, maximum 25%.
You think, okay, so if 25% of the employees walk away, that creates a shortage of help at their company, right?
Oh yeah, several top level positions. And what I mean by top level, I'm not talking about like vice president. I'm not talking about directors, right? I'm talking about the people that get the day to day stuff done. That's going to be like a massive shortage need.
That's what I was thinking about is how does the company continue to cook if cooks are leaving? So and if it is and we'll just I mean, I have no problem with your number. Let's just use it as a guideline. 20 to 25%, that's 1 in 4, 1 in 5 people. So imagine every team is losing 1 in 5, they're shorthanded. So, I think that would be felt within the company, right?
Mhm.
1 in 5 people walking out.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
How many people do they employ?
Actually, that's a good question. I think it's closer now to 100,000 than it was before. You know, 100,000 people nationwide.
So this potentially impacts thousands, right?
Oh, definitely thousands of people. It's not going to be like an isolated situation, but you know, uh, again, that's why I say there's alternatives, right? So you don't have to necessarily go back to work, Sneed, right? As in the sense of the traditional sense going to an office, right? There can be accommodations made to work exclusively from home.
Yeah, but the initiative, the push is that T-Mobile appears to have everybody coming back to the office, if not full-time, at least hybrid, April 2nd. So they're scheduling and planning for this return to work within those confines. So and we were talking about this kind of backstage, Moose.
Mhm.
They're paying rent. They've got this office space that they lease. I mean, they're in these leases for years.
Yes,
These are not 1-year leases.
correct.
It's years. So they're paying astronomical amounts of money just to get people in these office spaces to efficiently work in and around each other. So they're motivated to get people back in the office to work as a cohesive team. Now, personally, there most likely are certain jobs that are probably 99% effective remotely, and it won't change much or anything if they just stayed remote. But, maybe, it's a thing from the executive side where they want to get people back in, the camaraderie, the connectivity. I think a lot of that does help the morale of the company. I mean, if there's ever been a time where people have been separated, it's now. And it's over the last 2 years.
Mhm.
So trying to maybe build back that whole culture of connectedness, togetherness. They want to do that, and like I said, they're paying rent for this office space. I mean, Moose, tens of thousands of dollars monthly goes into rent in, you know, this type of real estate.
And then so there's a couple comments, right, about the situation. And then I can always say this, right? There's always an alternative, right? Online sales, over the phone sales, uh, virtual chat folks. There's always a way to pivot people from being in person from a customer. That's all I'm going to say.
But Moose, look how they framed this. They said, you get these inoculations or we're firing you.
Correct. It's to me again.
That is 100% an ultimatum. That's not them saying we're going to give you options.
I know. That's why I'm saying that other companies do not do these ultimatums, right? I'm pretty sure Verizon has been flexible and has been like, hey, we can be you can go online chat, or you can do this, or you know what I'm saying? Like there's other options.
Yeah, I think I have heard that about Verizon. I don't know what AT&T is doing.
So anyway, so now here's the other thing that I wanted to pivot to, which is pretty interesting stuff. Sasha Segan, you know Sasha, the guy from PC Mag, today uh, posted a very interesting article, and all I can say is that welcome to the real world. Those damn thongs and the damn shills and the all this other buffoonery, people. You know,
When
I'm
did the
telling you.
Moose? When did the article come out?
Let me see. Let me see. I have it up right now. Hold on. Let me see. It came out today, January 31st, by
Okay.
Sasha. Headline: Verizon C Band already boosting speeds nationwide. Now, why is this relevant? Is because they have nowhere near the amount of sites as T-Mobile does for N41, and they're already close to 50%. The gap used to be significantly higher. Now the gap's only 50% of the way there. I can guarantee you, Sneed, that by the time we have this conversation in the fourth quarter of this year with the iPhone 14, that gap will be reduced. If not, there is going to be a flip. Verizon is going to flip the script, in my opinion. They will be leading the pack against T-Mobile if it will stay like this for the rest of the year. Because we already know that AT&T is going to come in hot with 80 megahertz of spectrum this year. So that's a whole different conversation. But T-Mobile right now is going to be left in the dust.
Well, let's take a look at the story from Sasha Segan, PC Mag. Verizon C Band already boosting speeds nationwide. Verizon's big bet on new airwaves is paying off, according to data from Ookla. Okay, so this is crowdsourced data. I mean, a lot of these speed tests are coming from the newest generation of iPhones and the newest generation of Galaxies, right? So the folds, the flips of the world, and then we'll throw in, the S21 Ultra and all those phones. All right, it says here, Verizon's big launch of C-band 5G and 46 PEAs spiked its 5G speeds by 50%, according to new crowdsourced data from Ookla. Okay. That's pretty good, Moose. So if the average speeds were 50 megabits per second, a 50% increase puts them up to 75.
Correct.
Okay. If it was 100 megabits per second, it's moving up to 150. Right. So it's a substantial number to know that they just turned it on. It's been literally on for 11 or 12 days. And it's only covering 100 million pops. Just hit that today. This doesn't include deployments near airports because of the exclusion zones for the last 10 days, 12 days.
Well, actually, we gotta revisit that because there's new information that just came out a couple of days ago.
So we'll cover that too.
Right.
Absolutely. Now, the one thing that we see here is we do have a graph from speedtest.net, the Ookla. And what I can do for you guys is, because I was wise enough to use StreamYard tonight, let's take a look at the screen share and see what this tells us. And we can kind of compare some of these numbers and what this looks like here. Okay, so here's the share. Okay. And I'm going to try to increase the size as much as possible here. All right, so change in speeds after C-band rollout in the U.S. This is January 2022. This data is probably just about a week in length. There's just not much data, right? They turned it on January 19th. So, what are we talking about? 12 days here. All right, so AT&T's data unchanged. T-Mobile, it looks like a very slow linear increase. That could just be, I don't know, tower density improvements. So you get some upgrades, but you do see a very, very substantial and noticeable increase. And look, Moose, it's kind of like what I was saying. I think if we look at just before C-band, the 5G speed is probably 75 megabits, right? Maybe 80 megabits. And then it looks like it peaks over about 110 or 115 megabits, maybe. And we'll say 110 megabits. That's a nice bump. That is a really nice bump. So,
Yep.
and my expectation is that as the tower site densification of those upgrades increases, those speeds should continue to climb. Right? So there are sites that are off that does have the radio gear that need to be turned on and optimized. And then there's more sites that will be upgraded. So as we move from like 100 million pops to 125 million pops to 150 million pops, as that happens, and then probably by the end of the year, I think we're probably going to see like 175 million pops, maybe 200 million. It depends if they get early clearance on the BC block. If that happens, all this goes out the window and we could see some incredible speed increases nationwide scale. Good stuff, Moose. What do you think, man?
You know, the like we've been saying from the beginning, right? Is that Verizon is going to come out the gate and it's going to be a speed increase. We knew this from the beginning. But the thing about it is that not only is it going to be a speed increase, but again, speed is not an indication of how well the network is. It's just a measure of capacity.
But Moose, what has been the common gripe about Verizon's network?
That's what I'm saying, is that the only issue is that Verizon's network was spectrum starved.
Right.
It was needing massive upgrades. Okay. So this boosts it instantly. So I'm really glad, because this brings competition to the situation again.
Let's see if we can find any more data on this. Okay, so clearly T-Mobile is still way out ahead, 187 megabits per second average. So here's the number. Yeah, Verizon, 116 megabits per second. T-Mobile's at 187. So they've been able to scale their mid-band 5G, the N41, the 5G UC. They've been deploying it for the better part of, I think, a year and a half, Moose, maybe 2 years. So it kind of makes sense that their uniform speed is higher. But I'm telling you, man, I think you're onto something. I think that the competitive build of that dedicated 5G channel is going to be pretty fun to watch. So expect the T-Mobile speed to increase. And you know why I say that, Moose, is not only do I think they continue to densify the upgrades, I think they realize that they're going to have to kick up the backhaul. And, like for the N41 sites that are doing like 300, 400, 500 megabits, they're going to want to increase the backhaul. They can get over gigabit speed. See, a lot of people don't know this, but T-Mobile is leaving a lot of potential capacity out on the table. They're not truly maximizing what they can do with their spectrum holdings. In some markets, they have a ton of spectrum. So like we could see 1.1, 1.2 gigs per second very easily on N41. They've got 100 megahertz dedicated on the channel. They can start aggregating with the standalone, right, with all the with the N71 combos. They can do additional N41 aggregation. They've got a ton of PCS. They've got AWS. There's so much spectrum on T-Mobile's side. They can do a lot. So what they have to make sure that they do, because Verizon's here, right? Verizon's literally in 1 week, look what they've done. So if the goal of T-Mobile is to be the 5G leader, right? That's they want to have that moniker, the 5G leadership. I mean, Verizon is showing that all they needed was spectrum, and their upgrades are rapid. So, and look, we've already seen what AT&T is doing with N77 with 40 megahertz. They're doing like 500, 600, 700 megabits per second. So they're coming too. They're just waiting on radio gear that can take advantage of the entire frequency band. 3.45, 3.7. They'll have 80 megahertz where they got it. They'll be faster than Verizon.
For the short term, yeah.
And yeah, they'll be faster than, so there will be probably a good 4 to 6 months where people are going to be like, wow, AT&T's got 80 megahertz of N77 here, and they're able to produce more capacity than Verizon on their 60 megahertz N77. Here's what I will say though, Moose.
Mhm.
I think the most important thing about C Band right now, the N77,
Mhm.
it's not about spectrum depth. You know what it's about?
What's it about, dog?
It's about density.
Yes.
The most important thing about the N77 build, even up till now, the most important thing about the N41 build, it's about getting the upgrades on as many sites as possible, as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I trust AT&T and Verizon will do the proper backhaul. They're going to push the spectrum. That was the one thing that I think T-Mobile has been hesitant to do because they don't own their fiber, and it's to their disadvantage. So they've been playing this whole, they're being frugal with their money. They're trying to spend the least amount as possible, but still remain ahead, and it's just not going to happen. There's no way they could be a 5G leader, either not owning their fiber or keeping the lease of the backhaul low. It's just Verizon and AT&T are going to eat them up. I mean, look at this map. Look at this graph. This is 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
What happens a month from now?
Oh,
What happens 2 months from now?
Yeah. What happens every end of the quarter? What are we
Yeah.
gonna say?
Yeah,
After March
exactly.
31st, after June, you know?
Now, here's my honest opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think having the fastest network is so crucial that it's like the only thing that should occupy a carrier's attention. What it is, it's about creating the capacity your customers need. So if these metrics mean something to T-Mobile, then fine. I hope they continue to try to pick up the speed. If it's meaningful to Verizon, then fine. It's to the customer's advantage. You know what I'm saying, Moose? That they're creating capacity.
And remember this, 25 gig backhaul is very expensive if you lease it. Very expensive.
But it's the only way, Moose.
But they're not going to do it, man. Maybe in very, very super selective areas, but they're not going to put it everywhere that has N41. They're not.
I mean, they're going to have to do some millimeter wave. They're going to have 160 megahertz of N41 on air. You do know that they got C Band. They have 2 different sets of licenses for N77. They've got 3.7 and they have 3.45. By the way, Moose, when do you think they're going to put up radio gear for that stuff?
For which one? For the dual band?
Yeah, when do you think T-Mobile's going to put up gear
Oh,
for that stuff?
I personally don't think that T-Mobile is going to put C band equipment until 2023 at the latest. At the at the earliest, and at the latest, I think 2024. Yeah,
So they're going to sit on that spectrum.
yeah, they're gonna sit on it because they don't need to deploy it because it's not deployable until the end of 2023 for the B and C block, correct?
No, but I'm talking about the 3.4. That's live this year.
That's another thing too. I honestly think that what they're gonna try to do is they're gonna try to use the existing panel from the N41 to also do the 3 gigahertz as well.
I wonder if that's possible.
Who knows?
Wish we knew an engineer. Yeah, I was thinking about that, not so long ago. I'm like, when are they going to do the 3 gigahertz? Because they're still looking to finish the N41,
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing too, right? Their capex is not going to be increasing to a whole nother level, right? It's just slight upgrades here, slight upgrades there. So we'll see what happens, Sneed, man. Honestly.
So here's a N77 site for AT&T. You guys want to take a look at it there? Looks like that's going to be the best we could do. By the way, that's Is that AT&T at the top or at the bottom? I don't know. Anyway. All right, so that's that.
Yeah, I mean it's just really interesting to me, right, Sneed, that in just a few days, the conversation shifting so dramatically against T-Mobile. People are questioning their build. People are questioning a lot of different questions are being asked to T-Mobile now.
You know what I think is the issue right now is we're looking at. You remember when Neville was talking about how fast the N41 build was?
Mm-hmm.
I I have to go back and look at the numbers. But do you remember when he was talking about their upgrading? Was it 800 sites a week?
They were doing 1,000 sites a month.
That was at their peak. It was 1,000 a month.
No, they were doing 1,000 sites a month, then they went up to like I think 5,000 sites a month.
So how do they only have 200 million pops?
Mm-hmm.
That means the front end build was like balls to the wall, and then it just came to a screeching halt. Because from what I know, I'd say less than half of their sites have N41 on them. So that means they completely slowed. And that could be CapEx driven, right? They used all the CapEx, that's it, you know? But I'm going to look at it like this. When I look at AT&T's build, once they start, and I look at Verizon's build, then we'll look back at the T-Mobile build and see how do they compare. I think it's going to make for an interesting comparison. Because then we can compare like apples to apples. Like, here's a mid-band build for each of the companies. Who did it fastest? Who spent the most money? Who did it right? I really think the only I think this is mostly true in most cases. There's some markets out there that are different. I think the only real problem with the N41 build is the bottleneck of the backhaul. I think the pace for the build was fine. I think there's plenty of sites with the N41, but they haven't really pushed the backhaul. So what does that do? It limits how many people are on the tower, and it's affected how many people can sign up for the home internet. People really want it, Moose.
People just want an alternative, Sneed. I mean,
That's what I'm saying. They want it. They really do.
But if you have, reliable coaxial, or if you have fiber, I don't think that people are switching, man.
Eugene tried to say that people are leaving cable and fiber. I'm not buying it, Moose. I wouldn't leave reliable cable or fiber. What do you think, Moose?
You're absolutely right. People are not leaving fiber, just to go on some potentially unreliable over-the-air option,
What if the price is different enough, Moose? Like, what if the price for the fiber is like $80 to $100, and then T-Mobile comes in $50 auto pay?
That's the same thing that we were thinking about in terms of like that Reddit post where that gentleman on the Reddit post was like, yeah, I'll change from fiber to this just because I'm saving $20.
That's
$20.
crazy.
Come on, man.
Man, I would never give up fiber for $20.
$20 a month, times 12. That's the upside. Come on, man.
See, here's the thing, like the dedicated fiber is so reliable that your downtime is going to be just so minimal. I mean, who knows? Like, okay, I just went to a site and I tested Verizon N77. AT&T's on there. They've got a backup generator. Verizon's on there. They got a backup generator. T-Mobile is right next to it. There's like two monopoles next to each other. No backup power at the T-Mobile site. So in that situation, if you have T-Mobile home internet on that site, your access is going completely down. And what if it's your mobile too? Like, what if it's your mobile carrier and it's your home internet carrier? Now what?
So then both your wireless service for making emergency calls and your internet are down? No way, dude.
And that's another thing that I think some people would want to consider. I know Dennis brought this up. He said if a fixed wireless provider is your home ISP and it's also your wireless ISP, if something happens to that, there's no redundancy, there's no backup plan. What's your contingency? So I almost feel like it's probably better that you have multiple fixed wireless access options if you're not going to use a local cable ISP, to just mix it up. Like, say you got T-Mobile as your mobile provider. Well, then maybe have like Verizon Home Internet as your wireless provider for fixed wireless.
Right. But you won't be able to take advantage of the full discount that way.
Yeah, or it could be the other way. You know, have a T-Mobile as a backup line and have the Verizon as your primary and take advantage of that. You know, I don't know. Well, I didn't know Fios was still doing that pricing. 200 by 200 in New York. $35 a month. What do you think of that pricing, Moose?
200 by 200 for 35?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about it like this, for $35, right? 200 by 200, that fits most people's criteria of needing internet. Right? I mean, think about it.
200 by 200 is a great option.
Yeah, 200 by 200 is a solid option. Charter Spectrum does for $49.99 for the first year and $69.99 for the second year onward, right? For 200 by 10. So yeah, of course, I would pick the 35. Verizon's an incredible deal. Now, here's the thing though, Sneed. For the Verizon Home Internet, home fixed wireless internet, right? It's not $35 for 200 by 200. It's what is it? 25 with the auto pay, or sorry, with the special
Got the
deal.
wireless, right?
And you can get up to a gig or even more.
Yeah, we'll see what they end up doing when all the dust settles on that, Moose. We're gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Some people are reporting 100 megabit. Some people are saying 300. I have no clue.
Right.
And then we probably need to wait till they actually get their full C Band licenses, right?
Yeah, I mean, like one of the things that I was thinking about the other day, right, is the same thing with like your fiber situation, right? Yes, the latency is the latency for the moment. However, it's going to improve.
It is
gonna
down to
improve.
9 milliseconds.
Oh, it's no. Whoa. Hold on. You have not given an update to the viewers?
We just got an update. It is
Wow.
officially 9 milliseconds.
Wow.
So it just cut in half. Yes.
Wow.
The cheeks.
Wow.
Absolutely, bro.
No way. You see, you didn't even tell me this.
Moose, it literally just happened yesterday. We didn't talk until today.
So how did you find out? Tell me, tell me everything. How did you find out and everything?
I was actually doing a stress test. We had the 3 TVs going in the house. They're all 4K. So I had the 3 TVs going. I had a movie going on YouTube TV on the computer. I had, like obviously the phones were all connected, and I was stressing it. So I was like YouTube on the phones while running speed tests on all of them. So I was taxing the connections, right? And no stall, no slowdown, no nothing. I looked at the latency on the devices, 9 millisecond, 7 millisecond, 11. So essentially got cut in half. I don't know when. But
what did I tell you?
But yeah, it was cut in half. I think what ends up happening, Moose, is they do a little bit of refining on the back end, and it kind of just improves.
Well, yeah, I mean like I was saying to you a while back when I was reassuring you, I was like, phase 1 is the initial, 30 days, right? This is what you're definitely going to get the speeds, but then the improvements over time on the latency. I mean, like I said, you're going to start seeing 9 milliseconds, and then the next step is going to be 4 milliseconds, and then the next step is going to be 1 millisecond. You know what I mean? So it's gradually going down. But still, you're sub 2 digits. You're under 10.
Yeah, that was kind of the first thing I wanted to see. I was like, when do I see this thing cut into single digits?
Right.
And not that it was impacting my usage,
Right.
but just to know that it would be improving and getting better.
Here's the other thing I was going to ask you. Do you notice that you have nothing to worry about in terms of a data cap or anything like that? Like, do you
Or
feel like, do you have peace of mind that
Moose,
no
I don't
matter
think about anything.
exactly?
I mean, I don't worry about capacity. I don't worry about the cameras. I don't worry about the video quality. Like there's nothing I can do that's going to bog down this network and impact the usage on other devices.
One of the things that I was going to tell you is that this week I am upgrading to the 5 gig. This week.
Oh, snap.
There was a delay. I just wanted to put it out there. There was a delay that I could not get it on launch day for whatever reason, even though all the hardware equipment was there, right? The splitter was there. The XG-PON was upgraded. Everything was good on the PFP end, the distribution box. But for whatever reason, it was not available. So no problem. I will be upgrading to the 5 gig this week. And I will be able to do some testing because I just upgraded to a brand new PC build, right? It has a 10 gig Ethernet card. But I already know, Sneed, that I won't be able to actually stress test it the way I want to stress test it. And what I mean by that is that there's no physical way that I'm able to bog down that much capacity.
I tried Moose on a gig and I couldn't.
And that's on a gig.
I tried on a gig and I couldn't. And that was multiple 4K streams simultaneously. That was running speed tests while all the devices were running video. I couldn't do it.
What was the number that you got?
All the devices were doing like 400, 300. Like everything was getting whatever it wanted.
Yeah, see, that's the beauty of fiber, man. I don't think that you can do that exact same test with fixed wireless. Even if the site was 0.2, 0.3, 0.5 of a mile, direct line of sight, I don't even think so.
I think there's hardware limitations too with these gateways.
Yeah.
I think that's part of this too, Moose. Let's call a spade a spade. I think if you really tried, you could find a way to disrupt your connectivity on fixed wireless. I just can't find that happening on fiber.
The thing about what we talked about the other day, right, is that there's a certain level of quality of service, right, that you definitely receive a better quality of service. And what I mean by quality of service, I'm not talking about QCIs right here. I'm talking the actual definition of a quality of service. Your quality in regards to fiber is significantly better than any alternative option.
Yeah.
Coaxial.
Yeah.
DSL.
Right.
Fixed wireless. It's better simply because you have peace of mind. You have nothing to worry about.
That's true.
Like, again, like I was telling you, Sneed, right? I built my new computer, right? When I was doing, the full setup, the upgrading the BIOS, upgrading firmware, installing the new GPU and putting that, Sneed, I was downloading just the same way that I was downloading with the Xbox. I downloaded everything within seconds. And that's on a 1 gig. Can you imagine with a 5?
I believe it. That's the type of thing you could do there.
Yeah.
Yep, I believe it.
So I don't know if you know this, Sneed, but I actually was able to measure how fast my connection was downloading things. So unlike on Ookla speed test, on these, like on Steam and on EA, right, Game Pass, or like Xbox Game Pass, and then on EA, and then on Origin, and then on League of Legends, as an example, everything is downloaded in megabytes, the MB, the big MB, right, the capitalized MB per second. I was getting, because I had to do the conversion, I was getting 999. Exactly what I'm paying for.
Yeah.
999 on the down. Dude, it was insane. And I can just imagine with 5 gig, right? I'm even thinking about deleting everything I have once I get the 5 gig upgrade and seeing how much faster it will do. You know what I mean? Because we got to test this somehow, man. There's no way that I'm just going to have this 5 gig connection and it's just going to be. It's like what you tell me all the time, the metaphors. It's like you have a Bugatti, you have a Lambo,
Right.
right? And you're not even able to drive fast enough because you're in the traffic jam of LA or the traffic
Yeah,
jam.
you got to hit the fast lane. That's right.
Yeah.
Mm.
So going back to wireless for a second, right?
Moose, is it cool? Is it cool if we get to these super chats?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Big shout out to RFK Tech. He said T-Mobile is faking it till they don't make it. Do you agree with that statement, Moose?
Yeah, it's I feel bad for T-Mobile because their biggest claim to fame was this quote unquote 5G leadership, 5G the race or whatever,
Yeah.
And Verizon in just 1 week is starting to chip at that mountain very quickly. And can you imagine, Sneed, if every single cell site was upgraded? Every single cell site had a 100 megahertz. It's over, man. It's
Yeah,
done.
and I think it's going to take time to get there. So T-Mobile will continue to have the faster average download speeds and stuff like that. But I do think Verizon's going to push them. And I also think, Moose, that I think T-Mobile's going to respond. I
How?
think I think they're going to increase the backhaul on a lot of those slower sites.
So let me ask you. Okay, let me ask you this. That's why I wanted to pivot back to wireless from the conversations on fiber, because it involves fiber. This wireless piece that I'm about to ask you. Even if, let's say hypothetically, T-Mobile has the majority of their cell sites at 10 gig backhaul, right? We've seen that the maximum speed that you can get with 10 gig backhaul on a 100 megahertz band of N41 with the combos is like 700, 800.
No, I think they're able to do some stuff, and they're actually able to get up to like 1.1 gigs.
Are you sure, dude? Because I'm telling you, I've
Yeah,
seen it.
we've seen some of it. I think what they end up doing, Moose, is they do the 100 megahertz at N41, and then they do their 20 AWS, and I think it's 20 PCS. And you give it good backhaul, and I think they push the gig. And that's I don't know, man. I mean, do you like at that point, if you're pushing a gig on 100 megahertz of a dedicated NR channel, that's fair. But could they get more? That's where I think the backhaul comes into play. Right? If the spectrum's on air and the gear they're putting up is good and the engineers can optimize, I feel like a gig plus should be the expectation. 700 would be a letdown. I mean, we're seeing 700 now.
Right. And that,
so
and
I mean,
by the way, I was asking Zero Cool if these sites, right, that I know already have the N41 upgrade, right? I've been testing them. I asked, what's the backhaul on this? He already told me it's 10 gig Crown Castle. So I already know that that's the max that they can do. That's why I'm like, I'm very disappointed.
Well, I know that there are sites that are doing like 300.
Right. That is true.
So they need backhaul.
Oh, man. I think those are the 5 gig backhaul sites.
And what people got to understand is that the entire circuit is 5 gig.
Correct.
So that's sharing to all the sectors.
Divided by 3. Yeah.
And if one sector has heavy usage, it will get bogged down, and then the others might not be.
Right.
We've seen that type of thing happen too in networking.
But here's the thing, Sneed, right? We know. So okay. One circuit, one strand of fiber going to the cell site, 10 gigs, right? Divided by 3, and that's, on average, it's 3 sectors, right?
Yep.
So obviously the router, right, at the site can load balance, right? So like if one sector doesn't need that much
Yeah, if
capacity,
it's an upgraded site,
right,
yeah.
right. But again, what happens when all three sectors are super congested? And I've seen it.
Yeah,
N41 gets
yeah.
congested.
LA would be the type of
Yes.
market you could
Los
see it. Sure.
Angeles, critical number two,
How about
arguably.
Dallas?
Oh man, over here,
Same?
same situation
Wow.
because, in certain areas they had to turn off the N71 because of the interference issues with the hospitals.
So essentially they lose a channel.
They lose capacity.
Yeah.
Now let
It's
me
rough.
ask you this though, Sneed. Even if T-Mobile upgraded, okay, and got an additional 10 gig circuit or an additional, so 3 circuits, right? I'm telling you, Sneed, it's too expensive. I don't think you're going to see that everywhere. It's too expensive for them.
My fear is that even with them acquiring new spectrum assets, if they're unable to push the backhaul, then that means they're unable to push their spectrum.
Right.
So they're acquiring all the C band, right? They got 40 megahertz of 3.7 and then 20 megahertz of the 3.45. So that means there's going to be parts where collectively in the N77 band, they have 60 megahertz. You're going to put that on the same circuit. It gives you a little bit of headroom, but it's not really going to boost your theoretical speed. So you're not creating the proper capacity that could get you more people, like on the home internet service, for example. So there's still going to be some untapped capacity that's being left out on the table.
You know what? To go back to your metaphors, I think it's like, imagine you had a Bugatti or a Lambo car, right? And then you were putting regular gasoline in that car instead of the premium or the higher octane that it needs.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You're gimping. You are throttling the performance, the true performance of that car.
Well, Moose, we've known that the fiber backhaul will always be their bottleneck as not being the owner.
100%.
Right.
And that's
And
something.
you don't have to own the fiber at every site, but I mean, you got to get good deals, and then you really have to start owning your own fiber. It's not getting cheaper to run fiber.
It's getting more expensive. And and the other issue is that these prices, even if you negotiate, will never come down.
Because you're going to be increasing the capacity need.
Yes.
The circuits are going from 1 gig to 10 gig, 10 gig to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 100.
Oh my jeez. 100 gigs is going to cost so much money. It might as well, just build another cell site instead of putting a 100 gig circuit. No joke.
Not really, Moose, because I think the millimeter wave comes into play at that point.
Yes, but again, that goes back to you need more backhaul speed.
Yeah, and that's where small cells come and you can run the same circuit.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like a trade-off. But here's the issue, Sneed. You don't see Verizon having an issue with this. You don't see AT&T having an issue with this.
Yeah, but they've got CapEx that is built for fiber.
You have CapEx for fiber, and you have the operational expenditures necessary that if you need to, hypothetically, order faster circuits to your cell sites, you can do it because you are going to increase the amount of money spent on your own network. That's the operational cost.
Sure.
But you don't have unlimited CapEx, you don't have unlimited OpEx, and you are also behind in that regard of you need fiber circuits. So that's why I've always had this idea that T-Mobile is going to merge, not buy out. They don't have the money for a buyout. I think they're going to merge, because I know we were talking about this, the differences between a split or a spinoff or a split, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the whole Warner Media situation with Discovery and AT&T. But, again, it's an issue of T-Mobile has to be bought by a company. Or sorry, not bought, merged with a company.
Yeah, I agree. I
And I
agree. I
think it's
think
going to be Lumen.
there's got to be a partnership on that
Yeah.
fiber end.
But
Yeah.
but not just a partnership. This is going to be the two companies combined
Well, they're going
because
to want in.
yeah.
They're going to want
Right.
in with the company. Exactly.
I honestly think it's going to be Lumen.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
And the only way that I see that Comcast is going to do it, I'll tell you how they do it, okay? Comcast could potentially merge with T-Mobile if they sell or split, or the same thing that Warner Media is doing with Discovery, they're going to do with NBC Universal.
They got to get rid of the media.
They have to, because if not, it's going to be too big.
That's a massive conglomerate. That's the biggest company in the country.
That's right. It will be way too big.
There's too many customers tied up in too many industries.
That's right.
Let's get to some of the comments, Moose. We've kind of neglected them. How is online gaming going with the AT&T fiber? It's been really good. I've tried hardwired gaming. I have tried online cloud gaming.
Yep.
Playing against peers. It's been great. Not a hiccup, not a dropped frame, no disconnects. Man, it's been really nice. It's been very, very good. It has literally been a heaven send. Sebi says the hate of T-Mobile here is insane. I hope you don't really feel like that, Sebi. We're just trying to be objective here. Call a spade a spade. The package I have with AT&T fiber, I have the gigabit symmetrical for now.
However, you have been able to upgrade to the 5 gig since day one.
Yeah, I can go on the website and make the upgrade happen. Yeah. I'm just unmotivated to do it since I have no reason
to.
But
there's literally no. I mean, you've tried it. You've tried to stress test it. The only thing that you could do at this point is if you do end up upgrading, right? You would have to upgrade a couple of equipment. You would,
a couple of connections.
The PC.
Yeah. Hey, Viv, good to see you. Especially impatient about the rumor that nationwide C Band will cause Apple to add 5G to the MacBook Pro. Imagine a laptop that performs like you're at home except everywhere. What do you think, Moose? Major?
Yeah, so we already have Samsung laptops that are being sold by carriers. I mean, Verizon was the first carrier to start selling laptop service. Remember that Lenovo or the LG or the Lenovo laptop, right?
Yeah.
They had mmWave on a laptop. mmWave, Sneed. Back when mmWave was just barely 0.00001 of the square foot.
Here's the nice thing about that, right, Moose?
Yeah.
That laptop has room for antennas.
Correct.
And placement is a non-issue. You could put the antennas anywhere.
That's right.
So obstructions and the hand and all of that, leaves and fart dust, whatever you guys think is going to get in the way of mmWave becomes a non-issue.
What
do you think about this, Moose, from EM Tech? Verizon Fios upgraded plans, 300, 300, and 500, 500.
Yeah, they need to.
Do you think that was in response to Altice Optimum? Or do you think that was in response to the pressure AT&T push on the market?
No, because remember, Verizon Fios does not compete in the same areas as AT&T. I think that it is against the Optimum, and I'll tell you why. I used to live in New Jersey.
Okay? Optimum?
Yeah, and I had the option of Verizon Fios and Optimum. I picked Optimum only because my particular building in the condo, it had the old Fios need, so they couldn't run a direct line to my condo.
How did it perform?
It was going to be performing amazingly, but it was a shared connection, one fiber connection shared amongst all the units. I didn't like that.
What did you get? What did it give you for performance?
It was pretty bad, dude, because they never upgraded that equipment. So it was, what was it? I was paying.
You be sharing it with like 4 people on the same end of the building?
No, it was sharing it for like 8 units.
So you might have been getting 150 megabit.
I could have been, yes. It was like
maybe 100 to 150.
But again, the problem is though, right, Sneed, is that it was just not a good experience unless you have a direct line to each condo unit.
You need a dedicated pipe.
Yeah, you need a dedicated 1 strand per household, But the Optimum, it was pretty aggressive pricing, Sneed. I was only paying $32 for 400 by 20 in 2019, 2018, 2017. It was pretty aggressive.
I think EM Tech is right. I think the carriers just provide it. The ISPs just provide it, and if people want it, they'll pay for it. I think that's what it boils down to. Josh, what I could do for you, man, email me at sneedmobiletech@gmail.com, and I can help you with that Los mobile code. I got you. I'm not sure which service you want from them, but I think the best promo right now is the Magenta promo. So yeah, I'll help you with that.
Oh my God, we got a troll on here. I see you, Keon. I see you. Oh my God, this man. Oh my God.
Luna the Body is saying, I love AT&T service. T-Mobile ordered a nationwide upgrade to 10 gig. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. That's huge. Very good. Yeah, Sebi, I don't know. I think 750 is kind of maybe with a load, right? I think theoretical, like peak. Yeah, I same thing, Devon. I've seen that like 1 gig, 1.1 gig. But maybe kind of looking at it collectively as just a general trend. Yeah, we don't really see a uniform gig. We see the theoretical peak for them has been like just over a gig. All right, 100 megahertz with 40 megahertz carrier aggregation and 25 gig backhaul, 1 gig downlink throughput. So yeah, there we go, right there.
That's ridiculous because when Zero Cool says that, that's like him shaking his head because that's so much.
It's a lot of spectrum. I know, but that's what we're seeing.
But that's N41.
I know.
That's not good because for that same amount of megahertz.
So here's what we've been seeing though. We've been seeing, I swear, I people are sending me screenshots of the 60 megahertz N77 from Verizon doing like 850.
Beautiful.
Pushing
on
900.
60. On 60.
Yeah.
That's why I'm telling you, man.
So I feel that's why I'm saying like they're leaving capacity out on the table. There's more that they can do.
Sneed, 140 megahertz in Dallas is going to happen in 2023, right? 100 megahertz of C band here in Dallas, and an additional 40 of the DoD, on top of all the other carrier bands that they could potentially do with the iPhone 15, right? I believe that might be the final Qualcomm modem by the iPhone 15, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm telling you this right now, 140 megahertz standalone plus aggregating. So that's 2 bands, right? 100 megahertz and then the 40 aggregated. Plus band 5, 10 by 10, or even band 2, 15 by 15 or 20 or 10 by 10, whatever the case may be. It's going to be pushing easily 2 gigs or more. Easily. I can guarantee
you. Tim is saying that T-Mobile 5G is okay. The LTE is not good. They haven't spent money on the LTE side at all. It's all been band 41 and band 71. Interestingly, Moose, 75% of T-Mobile's data traffic is over LTE. So all the attention going to 5G, and most of the traffic, majority of it's still on LTE.
I mean, it makes sense. There's so many folks that honestly just can't afford to upgrade their phones. You know what I'm saying, Sneed? It's not about.
I think people are slow to upgrade. They're not incentivized to upgrade, and then cost is a factor for sure.
I'll give you a perfect example, Sneed man. Just last week, I upgraded 2 folks that were stuck on iPhone XS Max and 10R. Their phones did not qualify for the promotion because they were cracked. Those are that's why I was telling you, right, about the cracked screens earlier today.
Verizon will take them.
They will take them, but the Verizon is super expensive per month.
Yeah, more expensive.
Yeah. So that guess what they did, dog? They went to the T.
Hey,
They went to the
Alex.
T. And you know why, right? Because they qualified for the 25% fiber offer,
Yeah, it's good.
you know?
Alex, big shout out to Alex. The Pixel 6 with C band support, the earliest we'll see it is the February update. No guarantee of that, but that would be the earliest.
Oh, by the way, forgot to tell you, Chacha, I forgot to tell you, this week there will be a Pixel update for the February patch.
We'll see if it gets the N77.
I hope so.
Should have had it already, Moose.
What happens? What happened, Chacha?
Should have had it already.
No. I completely agree. There's no excuse. I am very disappointed with Google. Why would the Pixel be excluded from the launch if you know for a fact
It's coming.
Verizon needs it on every device? Come on, man.
Yeah,
Right,
they dropped
Steve?
the
Come
ball.
on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, like this is unacceptable, man.
It is. That was terrible execution. You saw my video on Technoid.
That's true.
Yeah, I put him on blast for that.
I couldn't believe it either. But you
Hey,
know what
well-
it is? It is what it is. Again, I think there was a massive delay because of that December patch that got pushed to January, right?
Yeah,
And
but if
that's
you
why-
had all that extra time, I mean, you had to include it.
And that's why I believe that there was this lag, this massive lag. And I don't want to hear it about the pandemic situation. I don't want to hear it. There's enough devices out there that need the N77 upgrade, and you just dropped the ball straight up.
Really did. They messed it up. Rolando's here. He says, "Leave T-Mobile forever." He said it twice. Leave T-Mobile forever. Zeke is saying T-Mobile is a train wreck. Rolando says again, leave T-Mobile forever. Why does he keep saying it? Oh man. We got Thomas in the house. He said, thoughts on AT&T rollout plans with the new auction winnings, 200 million pops by end of year. No way, no how. No way they get to 200 million pops.
Well, I mean, so check this out, Sneed.
I
What
think
if I told
Verizon's
you-
gonna have a hard time getting to 200 million pops.
Well, what if I told you, Sneed man, that those radios that are expected sometime in the spring, you know that springtime includes early March, right?
Yeah, but Moose, I ain't got him hitting 200 million pops by the end of the year.
I'm telling you, Chacha, expect the unexpected.
Moose, I
this
don't
year.
think they have 50 million pops worth of gear on sites now.
No, what I'm saying is this. I have a very strong feeling that we will be impressed. The SLE will be impressed. You know, the San Francisco will be impressed. LA will definitely be impressed. You know, like my uncle is so ready for the S22 Ultra. He straight up told me, if you do not get me the highest capacity model, don't even bother with it. Don't even bother. I want it. I want the C band. I want it all this year. He's gonna go all out, dude. Dude, the guy makes too much money for him to worry about anything less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just wants the phone that has the best capability. Done. The best radio reception possible from a phone is the Galaxy series every year.
What do you think, Moose? Joshua's comment here. T-Mobile's back end. What do you think are the top, I don't know, 2 issues that plague them on the back end?
You know, as you know, right? We have the eSIMs, we have the SIM cards of all the carriers.
Right.
We've been testing. I've been testing. I've been going everywhere. On one of my trips around the area, I tried to have a video call on T-Mobile, a FaceTime call. And as you know, with certain video compression systems, even at the best, it might not perform well if your connection is not handing off from tower to tower smoothly, right? The biggest issue that has always faced T-Mobile is that their tower spacing and their handoffs are the true issues of their network. Because if they finally have fixed those problems, we wouldn't be talking about drop calls. We wouldn't be talking about jarble in the voice calls, voice over LTE calls since, the start of their LTE rollout. These are like serious problems of a simple nature that they should have been fixed years ago, but they haven't been.
I think the calling issues are. I think they're dependent on a couple of things. The handoffs are rough. I was on the call with Nikki T once, probably a 20 or 30-mile trip, and he told me that I don't know, every like minute or two there was trouble with the call every 45 seconds or something like that.
T-Mobile.
Yeah, and that means it's like from handoff, right? It's going from site to site. So there's
Right.
and I don't know what that fixes. I don't know if voice over NR is going to change anything. I don't know.
Oh my God. This guy. Keon, we understand that in Washington, D.C., apparently it's the most magical place for T-Mobile. It's all this
It's
stuff.
Disneyland.
But you know what I'm saying, man? Listen, okay? You go to Los Angeles, you come here to Dallas, test the network for yourself, and if you have issues, or maybe you don't even notice the issues anymore because you think that that's how a network's supposed to be. But that's not how it's supposed to be. The network is supposed to function smooth. We are in 2022, Sneed. We're in 2022 and we're still talking about damn voice over LTE drops.
Looks to me like it's related to density. It's one of the and this made me actually pretty happy when I saw that T-Mobile signed the deal with Crown Castle for the small cells. That gives me a little bit of positive hope that some of those weak signal areas that aren't going to be addressed by the whole like N71, N41 carrier ag. I mean, that might help range a little bit on the N41 side, but it's not going to change the fact that a site, is 3 miles away and the RSRP drops to minus 125. You're just definitely going to have to go with tower site increase. You're going to do some small cells, plug in those gaps, and, get rid of those coverage woes. How much is gig in the CLE? It's national pricing over here, so we're at $60. You're paying 80 for yours? Okay. 80 is not bad. I think 60 is very competitive. I know that some people pay like 50 and 40 and stuff, which is crazy. They got municipal fiber. That's really good pricing.
I mean, the SMT has some special pricing. He's getting it free for a year.
Yo, man, and they keep sending me these damn gift cards. Clap, Moose, clap.
I'm telling you, dog. Clap
Oh,
that cheeks,
God.
man. I'm telling you. I'm serious, man. Look, even if the SMT didn't get it for a year, okay, he would be totally comfortable. Totally comfortable. Oh, and by the way, I need to address something, Sneed, because this needs to go on the record. Okay. There was a comment on Reddit, and you know which comment I'm talking about. There was a comment on AT&T subreddit directly addressing the SMT. And I got very offended by this comment. Because nobody should be questioning anything. Nobody should be trying to expose or to find out what people do in their actual jobs. I mean, come on, man. What are we trying to do?
Some people are just miserable, Moose. They'll never be happy. They're haters. They're malcontents. They got nothing going for them, so they just hate on others. What are you going to do, Moose?
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
The issue is that you actually, if something happens at your workplace, you are the guy to get it done or the first line of defense if something drastic was to happen.
Yeah, and every school has its own response team, and it's got its own response protocol. There are responders in different portions of the building assigned to different quadrants that are supposed to do certain things and coordinate. People just, I'm telling you, Moose, they just say anything. They just got diarrhea of the mouth, bro.
It is what it is. It is what it is. But
I've said it time and time again, Moose. They wake up to hate. They should just go back to sleep. That's the bottom line. If you're going to just wake up and be a hater, just put your ass back to sleep, dog.
and we should actually address this one comment in the chat here. Yes, it is true. The BGW 320, which is the newer fiber modem, is available, but it's being limited to new installations because there is a pandemic shortage on this equipment.
Man, the supply constraints are crazy, Moose.
Dude, it's bad,
everything.
man. It not only is there an equipment shortage for the BGW 320, but there's a shortage of the splitters, right?
Yeah,
Of the
that's
XG
bad.
PON.
I hear that's really bad.
There's an issue in the equipment at the central office.
Wow.
Maybe that's why Sneed, right? The ping dropped dramatically, right? By half is because the new splitters got installed, right?
Yeah,
There's so many different things.
Yeah, there's been a lot of work going on around the area. That's true.
Yeah. So, I mean, we just got to be patient, ladies and gentlemen. There's enough time for everything. Okay. But the problem is that there's these people that expect everything to be like now.
Yeah,
right?
It's just unrealistic at this point.
How many times have we been told in the last 2 years, we can't do this because of the pandemic. We can't do this because of the shortage. We can't do this because of this, right?
Yeah, everything is backed up. I mean, it's better than it was last year.
Exactly. It's better, but
it's better. I mean, what could we say? Maybe 50% better compared to last year?
You're absolutely right. I mean, but here's the problem, though. The car situation hasn't improved, right? New cars.
It hasn't?
No, it has not.
Sheesh, man.
Because the dealers sell these cars very quick, and then they're stuck with no inventory. The iPhone inventory situation finally fixed itself the first week of the month, right? January.
Apple is completely pandemic proof. They're unbelievable. I've never seen anything like this before. That company is just unreal.
Yeah.
The whole world goes through a problem, a medical emergency, and Apple just keeps cooking, man. It's crazy. James said he left the thong and joined the Verizon network. Was hilarious.
Oh, bro. Man.
Yep, just go back to sleep. That's right, brother. That's right. Alex has a comment. He said, do you guys think Xfinity will offer symmetrical uploads in the future for their standard cable? I don't know what they're doing with DOCSIS. And I know that, I guess, Spectrum, don't they, or is it Comcast? Who does the Infinity? It's whatever.
The what?
Xfinity service.
Yeah.
That's, they do fiber in some markets, don't they, Moose?
Yes. Oh, yeah. But it's very expensive, Sneed. Comcast always charges more for their fiber install. It's Brandon from Texas was telling me that it was like upwards of $200.
The car situation is bad, Patrick's saying.
Yeah, the car situation is very bad, and it's real.
Modems. Shortages.
Oh, wow. Comcast fiber's $299.
Jeez, man.
See, that, Sneed, you can get 5 gig right now for $180, and that's still not even close to $299. Dude.
Comcast fiber is $299. Oh, my goodness.
And by the way,
3 gig by 1 gig.
And by the way, you just mentioned to me the other day, AT&T just got simplified pricing. No more $20 price increase after the first year. It is what it is. That's the price. And no taxes unless you're in specific states that still require the tax, right? But other than that, no taxes. That's it. Flat. That's it.
Your customers appreciate it, All right. T&M Le Blanc. That's French for T&M the White. Looking into the future, will the iPhone 13 Qualcomm X60 modem give AT&T the flexibility, letting it combine 3.45 gigahertz C band and low band 850 5G? I'm gonna go ahead and say you're gonna be looking for LTE to carry more of that mail than the 850 megahertz because there's just not much spectrum in that channel. I would be looking for AT&T to do band 14, band 2, band 66, band 30. That's probably what you should be more excited about than a 5 megahertz channel of band 5 on
Well,
5G.
hold on. We are
What
Sneed.
up, Siova?
Sneed, we are exactly 22 days away from the AT&T shutdown of 3G.
Okay, what happens to that band 5 channel in those markets, Moose?
So then what's going to happen is the 5x5 it will be going to 10x10. Dude, we're going to see a massive increase by the end of the month, and actually even before the end of the month.
When you say massive, we're probably talking about a 25% speed boost on that channel.
Easily a 50 Mbps
Yeah,
increase.
but Moose, their LTE speeds are tremendous.
Yeah, but think about it, Sneed.
I'm getting 200 everywhere.
An additional 50. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I got it going from 200 to 250.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. In the grand scheme of things, not that big of a deal when you're talking about C-band speeds. But in a lot of congested areas, an additional 5x5 is good.
It is, and it's low band, so it's major. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got RFK saying dumb 3G.
Yep.
Carlos just made it in here. Really? Man, YouTube must be dropping the ball again, man.
Terrible.
And not getting the notifications out there.
Now, so when I was testing the band combination, Sneed, I think the biggest band combination that is going to happen this year for AT&T anyways will be 80 megahertz. This would be in Los Angeles. 80 megahertz of C-band, right? N77 3.7. Or sorry, 3.7, 3.8. 40 megahertz of the DoD. And then 20 megahertz of the band 2. That right there, 140 megahertz will be blazing. But there's an alternative path to that as well. In Dallas, you have 100 megahertz by 2023 of the C-band N77 3.7, 3.8 with an additional 40 megahertz of DoD. And I was even going to say band 30 combined with that, man. That would be huge.
Yeah. It's all about the mid-band, Moose.
Oh, yeah.
The 2, the 66, the 30, along with that 3 gigahertz excellentness.
Oh,
I mean, amazing. we're probably looking at gig speeds with ease. You know, because I mean, if you're within a half a mile of that site, I mean, the 80 megahertz alone is going to be pushing a gig. You know, throwing all that extra LT, we're probably looking at 1.2, 1.3 gigs. I mean, nobody's going to do the whole carrier aggregation thing better than AT&T.
Verizon outage. Hold up. Let me check down detector.
What are we talking about? In a specific city, or are we talking about what? Regional?
Let's check down detector. Let's see.
Could it be worse than the breach that was happening literally while we were live streaming the last time, Moose?
Oh, man. Oh, yes, there is an outage. Oh, yeah. There's
all right,
a
Moose got the
skinny.
Spike. Moose got the skinny for us.
Wow,
Break down.
There's a massive spike right now in New York City area. It looks like Tampa area as well. And it looks like Atlanta. Oh, and Washington, D.C. So basically the Eastern Seaboard, right, from Washington all the way to Boston, Atlanta, and Tampa. Wow. This is on down detector, by the way. You can see for it yourself.
Yep, I'll have to check it out. Everything's good on my end.
Yeah, Cleveland is not affected, Sneedman, at all.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. But there's a massive spike of over let's see here. Hold on. $2,000 reports at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time
In the
of down
PM. So
detect.
this is like within the last hour.
Yeah. Actually, sorry. Within the last 10 minutes, sorry. 9:21 p.m. Eastern Standard Time was when because this is based on Central Time. So yeah, so 9:21, 2,000
Keon,
reports.
Keon says, glad I'm on my T-Mobile line.
Oh my God.
You ain't got to deal with no outages. You got Ricky blaming Keon. Yeah, I wonder if it is a Fios related outage, maybe. Oh, you ain't lying, Devon, for sure. I mean, I've seen all the carriers do some funny business over here. Phone is showing no service currently. Okay, maybe it is happening. It's definitely not during the maintenance window because that's like what 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. something like that.
Yep.
Too much testing by Sasha Segan. Taxing all the networks in Queens, man.
Oh my God.
What do you think, Moose? Anything else to touch on before we call it a show?
I mean, the last thing that we were talking about is, there's a lot of things happening, right? Um, this quarter, right? But let me ask you this, Need. Do you think that this next iPhone, right? Because we've been seeing a lot of rumors. There was rumors from uh from Page Tech, um, FPT, about the hole punch display. There was rumors about the eSIM only display, the situation with that. They're talking about the X65 modem. I mean, we can almost guarantee that it's going to be the X65 modem. Whatever modem the S22 is going to be coming in with, right? Um, I mean, what's your take, Sneed? I mean, what do you think about all these rumors? I mean, obviously, you and I both have an opinion. Um, what is the SMT's take?
So a couple of things. I think design language wise, whatever they choose to do is not going to matter. Nobody is not buying an iPhone because it's got a teardrop or a hole punch or it looks like somebody threw a pile of poo at the wall. It's not going to make a difference. The iPhone is just it's just foolproof. Like it just doesn't matter. They've used an ugly notch for what is it, 3 or 4 generations, Moose?
Yeah, I mean, it's been there since the iPhone 10, right?
Okay, it's
So,
hideous and it's been hideous,
mhm.
And people have gotten past it and gotten beyond it and it doesn't phase them and you get used to it and then it's not noticeable anymore. Now, if they went to a punch hole design for all the camera tech and some of
Mhm.
that stuff goes under display, that reduces the size of the notch, giving people more real estate. Now you can incorporate more of that space into display features, right? That becomes something they can leverage. I kind of like that concept. And I think you were also talking about the modem technology.
Right.
As long as they go with Qualcomm and they're not using their own in-house Intel based stuff, I'm good. Once they move to the Intel based stuff, I'm kind of at a crossroads. Am I willing to try Apple's first gen modem? You know,
Well, yeah,
that's
that's going to be
really the
interesting.
question. So as long as it's Qualcomm and it's matching modem technologies with the Galaxies of the world, I'm good.
Now, let me ask you this, though, Sneed. What if that Apple modem that we've been talking about, we know about our Qualcomm friend, right? That was doing the testing back in the peak pandemic summer, right? 2020.
Right.
He was saying that the performance was only 8% difference back then.
Yeah.
So you don't think that in 2 years they would have improved it to make it like for like of the X60? That was what they were comparing it to.
The only thing that I think gives Apple an advantage is the fact that they can really truly customize the cellular array of antennas and the hardware. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Just like what they did with the millimeter wave, like you told me.
Yeah. So like that gives me some hope because, you know, what Qualcomm's going to do is they're going to give you the basic setup for the antennas. What you're willing to pay for is what they'll do for you on that modem hardware. Apple can go custom all the way around. You know, placement becomes easier, implementation becomes easier. The bill of materials, they'll have more in control of. It looks to me like when it comes to supply chain, Apple might be able to rival Qualcomm.
You know, one of the things, Sneed, that I was thinking about, it was this. So to finish off the topic of this Apple modem business, right? One of the things that we always forget is power consumption, right? When you have somebody else's technology on your phone, you realistically don't know how the thing is going to perform in all conditions. You can test it as much as you want in the laboratory, but until you get it out in the world and really get all that analytics data, that's how you know how to tweak it. Like, for example, right, Sneed? The Pixel 6 Pro has gotten a massive modem upgrade since launch.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And that's because these folks have gotten massive analytical data from the first wave of buyers, and they realized that they needed to do these tweaks to the modem. You know, I've had now the Pixel 6 Pro for about, I don't know, 2 weeks now, Sneed?
Yeah.
And I know that this phone does not drop below 4 bars for me, and I'm on FirstNet. I'm testing the FirstNet SIM. This thing is amazing.
The Pixel?
Yeah, the Pixel. It doesn't go.
I'm really glad that you've liked it, man. That's great.
It doesn't go below 4 bars. The only issue, like I was telling you, is that on FirstNet with the Pixel, it behaves differently than I traditionally think about, you know, consumer grade technology, consumer grade SIMs, right?
Okay, so you're saying it's different. Do you like the different, or do you feel like it's degraded experience at all?
So when I'm on the Pixel, I have to change my mindset. And that's what a lot of people forget when they start testing different services, when they start testing different devices or different ways to communicate to the internet's need, right? So like, for example, when I'm on my iPhone and I'm on QCI 6, right? Business Elite, right? I know that that is going to be the best possible speed of the network by far, right? The only thing better than that would be an S22 Ultra coming out later this month in February, or an S21 Ultra, right? That's the only way that I could improve my speed, right?
Yeah, but
yeah. Well, go ahead.
And this is something that I was speaking to Carlos and Zero Cool, kind of like on the engineering side.
Yeah.
When it comes to millimeter wave, for example, the most important ability is availability.
Right.
2 gig versus 4 gig makes no impact on a mobile device. You could argue it makes an impact on a fixed wireless connection for home internet, but on a mobile device makes no impact. What does make an impact is signal resilience.
Correct.
Grabbing that signal, latching onto it as long as possible.
That's right.
To make it meaningful. Because even if you're getting 500 megabits on edge cell, if you're able to squeeze out an extra 400 or 500 feet, or even let's go a little bit higher end, you're able to squeeze out almost an extra 1,000 feet on a millimeter wave node. Even if it's half the speed, you're taking it.
Yeah, because it's better than the LTE.
Exactly. So to me, the most important ability is availability.
Right.
And if a modem and antenna array are able to do something like millimeter wave with efficiency and effectiveness, grab the signal, hold on to the signal, keep it, then that's the winner. And I know if it can do it on millimeter wave, then what can it do on sub 6 gigahertz?
Right.
Then it's the people's champ.
So going back to what I was saying, right, of my experience so far with the 6 Pro on FirstNet, I had to change my mindset, right, Sneed? Because I'm not expecting this device to be the speed king. I'm expecting the device to always be connected, number one. I'm expecting preemption on the device, right? Because that's what the service is built for, Sneed.
Right.
It was to have 110% confidence that at any point during the day, I will be connected.
Right.
100%. So, something interesting that I've noticed that I believe that it could be just a Pixel situation, not necessarily a Samsung issue necessarily, because I'm going to be testing the S22 Ultra later this month, but I don't believe that it's a Samsung issue or a Google issue. It's just the way that the phone communicates to the network is slightly different than I was expecting. So traditionally, to put it into context, you would expect the phone to lock on to 5G all the time, or for you to be able to manipulate LTE only or 5G only, like we were talking about that one day, right? However, with FirstNet SIM, you cannot toggle between LTE and 5G. It's just best spectrum at that time. And the majority of the time, 99%, I would say, the phone is connected to band 14 holistically, religiously. That's it.
It is a very good band, though, Moose.
It is.
It really
like
is.
I said, I have not gone down below 4 bars everywhere, Sneed.
You guys got good density there, too.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
In the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area, I mean, there's a site literally 0.25 in some areas, 0.25,
So it behaves differently on Verizon. So I've tested it extensively on Verizon, and it works really hard to stay on midband.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then what ends up happening is the signal starts to fade, and it'll hold on a little extra to a midband just for the sake of capacity, I believe. But eventually you got to hand off to low band. I mean,
right.
There are some instances where a tower site's just simply 2 or 3 miles away.
Right. Now, one of the things that I can say is that I was afraid that this thing would only connect to millimeter wave 5G, but actually the service here is so dense with band 14, like we talked about just right now, that I never go to sub 6 5G. The icon never goes to 5G unless you are by millimeter wave or you're in that one very rare circumstance that the sub 6 5G actually will have a better performance on that sector than band 14, which was wild. That was a very interesting test, Sneed, because that made me realize that the connection is much smarter than I thought.
So do you think the experience is different on a per market basis?
Oh, 100%.
Wow.
Because I know that the Chacha Carlos, he's saying that FirstNet and overall the AT&T network in Las Vegas has had some challenges lately, right? But to me, I didn't experience any issues. Now, I will say this. That's why I had to change my mindset. I was not expecting the best performance in terms of speed like I am expecting on my Business Elite QCI 6 line, right? But I was very impressed, Need, where 100% reliability, no drop calls, no jargle, no nothing. Straight up signal everywhere.
So are you gonna go ahead and get that Consumer Elite line on there too?
Yeah, so the next step, right, for the true test of the Pixel is to test out a Business Elite line on the Pixel. Because the only thing that's holding me back from giving a true recommendation on the device itself, Sneed, is that I'm testing it on on a FirstNet line. It's not a consumer line. That's why when there's a lot of comments on the subreddits or on the chat or whatever about how it's not fast enough for me, blah blah. They, like you said a while back in a couple of videos ago, you can't compare an apple to a dragon fruit. First of all, an apple is like 50 cents or 99 cents. A dragon fruit is $10 on the, in the supermarket. It's very expensive. Totally different.
You have to think about what you're signing up for with a FirstNet line.
Yeah.
And not everybody qualifies. It's
That's
an
true.
exclusive offer for people that qualify under a very strict
100%.
set of circumstances, and they have priority and they have preemption.
Right.
And that is the whole premise of that independent network core. People have to remember, yes, it operates on T-Mobile hardware. Or excuse me, it operates on AT&T hardware. But the fact of the matter is the network core is independent and separate from the rest of AT&T's consumer and business and prepaid and MVNO. It's
Everything.
different. It's by itself. It operates under its own core. And the way, and all you have to do is look at where the investments go with the FirstNet Authority. There is $25 million that just got allocated specifically for core research and development.
Yep.
That it was dedicated to the FirstNet Authority for the FirstNet core. That has nothing to do with AT&T.
Nothing at all.
Consumer, business, prepaid, nothing.
Consumers won't even touch that.
Never. Now that money is allocated for the development and research on the FirstNet core for a reason. They're going to create unique custom configurations for that core.
Yep. Like right now,
network slicing, all these other things, right?
I don't know if you know this, but right now the biggest thing is this emergence of push to talk. Remember push to talk?
I love it. I think that's something they should explore.
Yeah, and right now FirstNet is very heavy on push to talk right now, and I think that's amazing because I remember the Nextel push to talk, man. It was good.
It was great. It was great.
Amazing.
It was executed well.
Amazing, and that was on Sprint, dude. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Wasn't that on the IDEN network?
Yep, it was on what 850, right? 850.
900 megahertz.
Yeah, 900. Dude, it was beautiful. But imagine on band 14 a push to talk. Whoa.
And by the way, all that has to do is get HPUE and it's a wrap.
And that's another thing we still have to wait and see. What happens, ladies and gentlemen, when HPUE, high-powered user equipment, is enabled on every single FirstNet Band 14 enabled site? You're going to effectively double the range.
Any type of power boost to a low band frequency. I mean, just hold on to your horses, man. It's going to stretch and push. And I think the indoor, that little burst for audio on that power would be tremendous.
The other thing that we have to talk about is this. So, as you know, I usually tend to stay away from Android devices, Sneed. But I always am an open mind whenever the SMT recommends me to try some stuff. Okay. I was completely open-minded when the SMT mentioned, hey, test out the features, test out the experience, the Google experience. As soon as I tried the experience, like SMT was saying, yes, it was a very long installation process and intro process. But as soon as I got in, it was exactly what I was expecting. It's the best version of Android. No bloatware, no BS, no nothing. You know, it was just the experience. And thankfully, I have a Gmail account. I use my Gmail all the time, right? Everything's baked in.
They really
So
do have their ecosystem, don't they, Moose?
they do.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that it doesn't have that I'm missing, right, is that iMessage. But of course, it's exclusive to iPhone. I have Apple Music on there. The iPhone, the traditional iOS app. It's on Android. I have YouTube. YouTube actually performs better on a Pixel than on an iPhone. So again, there's multiple different things. The device lasts 4 days. It was amazing because one of the things that I got to tell you, Sneedman, is you were right. If this Pixel was on was on a T-Mobile SIM, that thing would be switching from low band to N41, low band N41, possibly even LTE. Who knows? That thing will be frying the modem, just
Yeah,
like
it was all over the place when I
yeah.
tried it. Yeah.
The Cha-Cha, his 13 Pro Max modem got fried because it was on T-Mobile.
Sheesh.
Unbelievable. So no issues, man. All in all, so far a great experience. Love it so far, honestly. And here's the beautiful part, Sneed. I forgot to mention this. If you want to add another SIM, it's a very, very nice process. It actually is a very nice, user interface to add an additional line or an additional SIM, I should say. Very simple process.
Hey, we got a super chat from Big Rubes. Appreciate it, bro. SMT keeps calling a spade a spade. Great content, amigos. Hello from Arizona. Thanks, Big Rubes. Appreciate the support and the kind words, man. And to answer the question here from Santiago, AT&T they've got their network. FirstNet is an independent network access, independent network core that operates on the tower hardware from AT&T. So if I'm going to distinguish this, AT&T consumer, AT&T business have nothing to do with FirstNet. When AT&T upgrades towers for FirstNet, they upgrade all the gear for, like band 14, which is the FirstNet spectrum. They upgrade the radios, the antennas, and they put up all their other upgrades too. So stuff for band 30, stuff for band 12, band 66, band 2, everything, right? And now we're going to probably start seeing some upgrades for the N77. So, and millimeter wave too. I think that's going to be happening probably to a lesser scale, but it'll be happening. So that's how you want to look at it. Moose, anything else before we close out the show? We're already approaching 10 o'clock in the Eastern time.
We already are at 10. No, Sneed. I mean, there's probably going to be another podcast right later down the line this week. I mean,
depending on the news, Moose, we could have something Wednesday. We could have something Friday.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's so much going on right now in the world of, the tech, just the telecom world. I am very impressed with just how much stuff is happening right now. And there's always going to be more stuff. Like, for example, I was researching the other day, SK Telecom and KT, Korea Telecom, are now introducing their mobile networks to the metaverse.
Oh, snap.
I don't even know what that means, but guess what? It's definitely interesting, right?
It sure is, man. A lot of stuff is changing. It's like it's a dynamic and fluid situation, Moose.
That's right. But anyways, Smitty, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for being on, Moose. Appreciate you, man.
Anytime.
You're always a gracious host and hanging out here as we discuss the topics of the day. Big shout out to Moose. If you appreciate Moose and his efforts and his commitment to the nation, please give this video a like. If you enjoyed the podcast, thank you to everybody who offered super chats. Thanks to everybody commenting. I really do appreciate everybody's, contributions to the channel. Everybody that's, part of the live chat, and everybody kept it civil today. I was very proud of you guys. Thanks for being so tolerant of one another and accepting of each other's perspectives. The amount of respect within the nation it's been a bright spot. So thank you for that. And we'll see if we'll be bringing another podcast later on this week, at least one, maybe two more. We'll see. But again, thank you guys for watching. Hashtag replay crew, hashtag 2live crew, hashtag ravioli gang, hashtag mod squad for everybody that qualifies on those hashtags. And Moose, hashtag cheeks. Let me get a few claps, please. Everybody go out there and be a champion. Go get some cheeks. We out this piece. Peace.